Okay, so now we come to section C of paper 1. This is the longer writing task. Again, the purposes that you will be required to write for here will always be inform, explain, describe, or a combination of those. Just on first glance, you can see that this question is more highly structured than question 6, the shorter task, and that it's worth many more marks. If you look, you can see it is worth 20 marks. So it is worth double the number of marks as the shorter task that you did in question 6. However, when you first come across the question, the process is exactly the same. The first thing you must do is to read it to identify the FAP, the form, the audience, and the purpose. So if we read this question, it says, a website called Respect is collecting views on the statement, everyone deserves to be treated properly. Write explaining what respect means to you. You may choose to write about your own experiences, how we should treat parents, teachers and others in authority, any other points you wish to make. So if we start to pull this apart, they've been quite kind to you here. They've given you the form. It's a website. Now, as with newspaper and magazine articles, do not waste time making it look like a web page. Don't bother drawing hyperlinks and banners and pictures. You don't get marks for that. All you do is waste time and ultimately you lose marks. They're not interested in the visuals. They are testing your writing skills. They just want the written text. Okay, so the form is a website. The audience, on first reading, it looks like they're not giving you the audience or that it's really ambiguous. But if we look carefully at that second bullet point, how we should treat parents, teachers and others in authority, that rather suggests that this website is aimed at teenagers and possibly young adults. So it's about respect. And the issue itself, the issue of respect, is something that resonates with teenagers and young adults particularly. So we can assume that the audience is going to be teenagers and young adults, and so we're going to need to choose our vocabulary and the way that we use language to meet the needs of that particular audience. We look at the purpose. They give that to you explicitly. Write explaining what respect means to you. So when the examiner comes to mark this, they are going to be looking for the conventions of writing to explain. As with the shorter writing task, 1/3 of the marks are awarded for spelling, punctuation and grammar. Okay, as we've said, this is worth 20 marks. It's worth double the number of marks of the shorter writing task. Therefore, there are double the number of marks available to gain or possibly to lose for spelling, punctuation and grammar. They're looking for exactly the same thing. Spelling needs to be accurate. If you have made the odd mistake, it shouldn't be so bad that it makes it difficult for the examiner to understand what you're saying. And punctuation, have you used the right punctuation in the right place? Are you able to use punctuation to create meaning in your writing? Are you consciously using punctuation as part of the writing process? Grammar, are your sentences structured correctly? Have you got the different types of words in the right order? Are there a variety of sentences used for effect? They then come on to the content. Again, it's exactly the same thing. They're looking for the same thing, but they're looking for it in a more sustained, more developed way, because this is a longer task and you have 45 minutes to do this. So have you understood the form, the audience and the purpose? Can they tell that from the way that you're writing in terms of the language that you're using, the particular conventions that you're using? Is your vocabulary varied? Is it appropriate to the task, to the form, to the audience and to the purpose? And is your text well structured? They're helping you in terms of the structure because they give you these bullet points. So they tell you that you might choose to write your own experiences, you might choose to write about how we should treat parents, teachers and others in authority, and any other points you might wish to make. If you come up to this task and you think, oh God, I just don't know what to write, use the bullet points. Do a couple of paragraphs on each of the bullet points or each of the aspects in the bullet points, and you will end up with a well-structured piece. if you look at one of these section C questions and think, I've got a brilliant idea for this, go for it. As long as you are adapting your writing to meet the form, the audience and the purpose, you will be given credit for it. Okay, so that's a typical section C longer writing task. They've given you the form, they've given you the purpose, and you can work out the audience by carefully reading through the question, and they've given you some bullet points to get you started, to get you thinking and to help you structure your writing for this particular task.